What's good? What's good, everyone? How are you doing out there? Welcome to another edition of Real Talk for Real Men. I'm your host, Lee Black, on this Wednesday evening. I hope everybody is safe and warm. There's a obvious freeze that's happening across the country. So wherever you are, I hope you're safe. I hope your families are safe. For those of you who have to get out into this type of weather, you have my sympathies. I work from home, so I'm a little spoiled here, sitting here in my cozy sweater. But welcome to Wednesday's edition of Real Talk for Real Men. I'm going to bring in my co-host, and hopefully we're going to get this party started. And this is, of course, from Memphis. This is Tasha Mack. What's up, McMack?
What's going on?
All right. Well, how are you? Your greeting was all kind of tight. How are you doing?
I'm so tired. I'm just tired. You came all dressed with your sweater and everything. Was I supposed to, I didn't know I was supposed to wear a sweater.
No, baby. I got my t-shirt on, but I wanted to be comfortable. And so I actually had my air running because I like working with it being a little bit cool, but I got my Cosby sweater on. So feeling all Cosby-ish in this bitch.
Oh, so we gonna be on the couch then with Lee. You need your glasses now, so put your glasses on. So then we have a real therapy session in here.
And I don't know if you guys have noticed. And welcome, sis. How you doing from New York?
What's up, y'all?
How you doing, sis? I don't know if everybody's noticed. I have not been wearing my glasses. I don't know what's going on. I have diabetes and high blood pressure, but I have not needed my glasses for quite a while now. My vision has been clear. So, maybe my fat ass is trending in the right direction. So, so that we're going to hope. But, with that said, I'm doing pretty good, And so, sis, how's the weather in New York? How are you doing tonight?
It's good. It's cold in the mug out here.
Yes, it is. Colder than a well digger's ass. And we got Terrence. What's up, cuzzo? How you doing? Welcome to the show. So we're going to chit chat for literally just another minute or two. And then we're going to get into this thing because, we're going to get to talking about something. Tasha, it's ironic that you said being on the couch. Mm-hmm. I am putting the audience on the couch tonight because I'm going to open you guys up and you'll be privy to a conversation that started with Tasha and I a few days ago, and it just wouldn't leave my brain. And so I decided, you know what? I'm sitting in front of a computer every day. And so it gave me an opportunity to dig a little bit deeper and to bring this out to you. So you guys are going to be privy to being able to, have an inside scoop on shit that we talk about anyway. And I see we get Candace from the candy shop. How you doing, sweetheart? Great to see you. So good to see you. Hopefully you're warm, sweetheart. And my condolences. I saw your post about your family. So condolences to you as well. It's always a hard time of year when you lose somebody and start up the new year. So fantastic. Mm-hmm. Well, as we wait on anybody else to jump in, you guys probably wondering, well, what are we going to be talking about tonight? So the other day, Tasha and I were talking, and we're fully into 2024 right now. So we were talking about just normal shit in some kind of way. I don't remember, Tasha, how the conversation came up about sex drive and things like that. And, where you at and where I'm at. I see we got Candace in the house. What's going on, Candace? How you doing, sweetheart? And so it got me to thinking, and I was like, you know what? I started thinking about myself. So tonight's topic is, how is your sex drive? How is your sex drive? Because I did this internal search and I wanted to kind of say so many things have changed and so many things are different. So let's get started, even if it's just us three. And I don't have male representation on here, so unfortunately, y'all going to be stuck with me. Terrence, I hope to hear your comments in this. I want to hear what you got to say, but I'm glad I got two women because I want to be able to certainly let you guys represent. Because again, I'm full admittance. I know shit about women. You know, we as men, we think the older I get, the more I realize we don't know shit about women. Y'all are some complicated beings, and so you'll get a sense to explain yourself. So let me start here, and I'll say this with the utmost seriousness. I love pussy. I've always loved pussy. The truth of Tasha, see, your face is already kind of killing.
Are you coming out to us? I mean, are you coming out straight to us? I don't understand. Where is this going?
and see, you making me laugh because I'm trying to set the tone. I'm trying to set the tone. I love pussy so much until I have always had a very complicated relationship with my love of pussy. You know how we're told, you know, the money is the root of all evil, and so many people get that wrong. It's the love of money. It's very similar when it comes to pussy. Pussy is a beautiful thing. Like the late great Drve Mac, I wish they would put that shit in cans. My cupboards would be full. You know, pussy is so good that it caused Adam to fuck us all in favor of that musty snatch. And I love it. And I love it so much until it's driven me away from family. It's driven me out of marriage, out of relationships, because quiet is kept for a long, long time. My every waking thought used to be about pussy. I always, like a dope fiend, like a crack addict, I used to always think, where can I get my next shot of pussy from? That's how much I love pussy, you know, to be honest with you. And even as a married man, I had to hide that part of me because I love pussy so much. Anybody who knows me, who ran with me, who's been around me, I led a very simple life. If it didn't lead to pussy, it just didn't have much room in my life. You know, I wasn't going to be out there rubbing on cars. You know, I don't have pets. Everything for me led to getting me some more pussy, and the more the better. That's how much I've loved pussy. But what has happened? What happens to me now when I think about now? Because I was telling Tasha, I hardly ever think about sex. So I did this deep dive in myself, like, what the fuck happened to my sex drive? So we're going to talk about sex drive. So I'm going to put it right out there for you ladies right from the outset as we jump into this. What actually is sex drive? So when you think about what sex drive is, what is it to you? And again, I wish I had real representation. Terrence, I hope you chime in. Whoever's watching, please feel free to chime in. What is the libido? What is sex drive? What is it to you?
Oh, well, it's not pussy. You know, let me just say, I don't enjoy
it. Could be.
I don't enjoy the puss like you do. No, thank you. So it's not that. So for me, it's just the way I see it is, it's just the wanting, the yearning, the needing dick, not pussy, dick. Okay. So that's for me, just wanting, desiring, needing to physically fulfill a need in myself. Like I need to nut. That's just what it is.
Wow. Let me tell you what I love about what you said. You use language that we often hear men say.
Oh,
you know, so I'm glad that you wasn't going to be all clinical with it, you know, because we get in trouble as men sometimes if we was to say it in that way. Look, I got to bust me a nut. To hear a woman say that, to me, is very refreshing. And I like the tone we're starting off with. Sis, for you, what is the libido? What is sex drive to you?
As Tasha said, like, you know, you wanting to need, you're horny, you have these feelings that you want to get, you know, cleared out, pretty much.
Okay. You know what? I really like that expression too. There's an episode of Seinfeld where in this episode, George and Elaine both refrained from having sex, and it had a true adverse effect on the two of them. For George refraining from sex, he got smarter. His thoughts became crystallized and clearer. For Elaine, being a woman, the episode really showed how her brain became scattered and clouded. So it's funny that you would use that expression, Sherry, about getting cleared. you know. And so I see Tasha shaking your head. And this is why I started from the beginning, that I'm saying I don't know enough about women, because we think we do. But is that true? For women, does the lack of sex make your judgment? What does it do for you if you're willing to share when there is a lack of sex or the want to do it? What does it do?
For me, I feel like I'm in a fog. I haven't had sex in over a year. In over a year. I haven't had sex in over a year. Now, sex with myself, that's pretty freaking, but it's not the same. So it's not the same. Where it could be temporarily, it could be, enough to satisfy the urge, but it's not as satisfying. Let me just tell you, I can taste sounds and hear colors, okay? That's
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Sis, did you want to expound on that anymore? Like, what happens when you have a lack of sex? So you share whatever you want, or you can just say move on.
Yeah, if you're not getting no dick, you just you feel angry sometimes.
Wow.
You be frustrated. You need to release like a man.
Wow. Yep. That is very refreshing to hear. The study that I looked at, I've got 3 articles pulled up, and one of them by this guy named Dr. Mintz. I'd be glad to post articles if you want. He talks about 2 types of sexual desires. He said one is a spontaneous desire, and he described that as urge arising from a cue, such as seeing a person you're attracted to. Then he talks about responsive desire, wanting to have sex for reasons beyond physical gratification, such as feeling close to your partner. And I love that he made a difference between the 2, because do you think men and women fall in both of those categories, or one more than the other? Because as you contemplate that, for me, again, I agree with you 1,000%. Sex drive is simply put, it's my desire to have sex. And ironically, the longer I've gone, I went through stages to where I am now. And so I want to talk about those stages and even what may happen with younger and as we age and things like that. But in this particular subject, for you, is it more of a spontaneous desire that drives your sexual desire, or is it responsive? And again, the spontaneous part is, you know what? Somebody you're attracted to. Is that the bigger cue that's driving you? You see somebody that you want and you ready to get it in? Or is it more responsive, where their physical gratification kind of falls secondary to wanting to feel something? Because we hear all too often about women only cheat, for example, if they need a reason. So where does your sexual drive come from as women?
I think if people would be more honest, it's more 50-50. If people were more honest. But I think like as a woman, a lot of times you get shamed if you say that you just want it spontaneous. And I do think that there is a lot of pressure attached to, oh, I have to have feelings. I have to be connected to that person. I have to have there has to be some sort of deeper meaning. It's not. Sex is biological. The way that it happens, it's completely natural. Even in cases of, and I won't say it because sometimes like it gets it'll flag videos, but in terms of like SA,
Right.
things like that, there's a reason why some women, even when that happens to them, they can still achieve orgasm, because you can't help it. It's all natural. And so that's why I think that, for me, I would say it's 50-50. It's the spontaneity, it's the not knowing, it's to be able to unleash and just to be caught up just in that moment with that person. But then, yeah, of course, like when you do have someone, it is about connecting and wanting to be close to them. But I do think it's more 50-50. And I think that's even for men too. I think for people it's 50-50.
I love how you broke a lot of it down. Um, and in excuse me, and in those terms, then I can't overlook then the aspects of homosexuality here, because if some of it is based on physical attraction, do you believe then that we are physiologically driven towards what we see, whether it's a male or a female?
I don't think so. Cause it's
Okay.
like, cause I would say like this, for me, there's nothing about a woman for me that would make me want to sleep with her, that I would desire sexually or anything like that. There's nothing that would make me want to express myself with a woman.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I think that's more just like of like a mind thing.
Hmm. Very interesting. Sis, what do you think? So for you, where do you stand on, is it more of a spontaneous desire? You see somebody and you're attracted and you're ready to get down, or is it more of a need because of not necessarily physiological, but I want to feel close to them? Where's it for you?
Well, like Tasha said, I think it's kind of 50-50 in a sense because, I like to feel connected, of course, I'm married, everything. But spontaneous sex is fun.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
like no limit
Okay.
because you really don't know or really care if you're going to see the person again. So you feel me? So basically you just, you're having fun with it at the moment and fulfilling your desire pretty
I,
much.
I'm so surprised to hear you say that, because then I've got a question for you. Have you ever had a one night stand based on what you just said?
A one night stand?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I was curious because I thought you hadn't had one before. So,
Hmm.
okay. So, yeah. Okay. So that's pretty cool to hear that. Not that you've done it,
It's
but okay.
fun.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, telling the truth, just telling the truth. It's fun. Like
This
it's
is
no.
where, no, no, I'm sorry.
No, I was
Go
just
ahead.
saying it's no limits. Pretty much, you ain't got to worry about nothing connecting at that moment.
This is where for
No
me
connections.
now I'm going to go into the weeds, because for such a long time mine was purely spontaneous. My sex drive, if I had to put numbers on it, Tasha, for the longest time, it would have been 80-20 spontaneous. And that was the dirty little secret that I harbored, even during marriage, even during relationships, that people don't know this about me. If I went to a funeral, my mind couldn't focus on the actual funeral ceremony because I was thinking about fucking people who were passing me by. So for me, and I used to think something's really wrong with me. And I used to go to funerals and hang around in the back and sometimes walk out. And a lot of people assumed that I did it because, oh, he must be, feeling emotional. And what they didn't know was going through my head. In the Bible, it talks about the Holy Spirit being poured out on Antioch, and the fire was over all of their heads. And that's how Jesus anointed people. I used to have a true fear that some kind of way God was going to, in a church, identify me as some kind of fucking pervert because my thoughts were that impure. Somebody's laying there dying, and I'm every woman that's passing by, and I'm thinking, "Oh, that ass." I was driven by the spontaneity of
Hmm.
wanting it that much. And in most ridiculous circumstances, the most pious religious circumstances, I could be at a prayer at a Thanksgiving dinner, and I'm looking around because my mind would drift there. I ain't titties on them. My mind was always going there when I was younger, and I should think something is wrong with me. So I looked at another study where it talked about age, and it talked about the two things that drive, sexual desire, drive our libido: testosterone and estrogen. And for those, people out there who may not know, testosterone is a hormone men need for sexual arousal, and it says that it's typically high in our 20s. And so it's your sex drive, and it's an interesting status that might be part of the reason why 8%, possibly more, of men in their 20s report erectile dysfunction. And I had to really think about that in our 20s, where we're driven by this, chemical in our brain, in our bodies, to want to fuck. You know what I'm saying? And so for men in our 20s, it's at our all-time highest, which for me would explain why I was married in my 20s and I had to suppress a lot of that because I was trying to be married. I cheated here and there, but when I got in my 30s, I've often told people I acted out my 20s in my 30s. I got divorced at 30. So all of a sudden, I'm a 30-year-old single man, and it was the worst storm possibly because now I'm older, wiser, smarter. Religion had been thrown, so there was no restraints of religion at this point. And I had the material means to pull towards me what I wanted. I had the house, I had the job, I had transportation, I made good money. I was at my physically best self in that moment in my 30s. I was at my physically best, athletic, active, and no boundaries. So that made for a fucking dangerous predator in my 20s. And so it really explained a lot. Now, I want to ask you ladies, because it talked about women in their 20s. It says you're more likely to be fertile from your teens to your late 20s than you are in your years to follow. It says this makes you choosier about if and when you have sex. How true is that for women, the estrogen levels and how that impacts your sexual drive in your 20s?
I think it's supposed to.
Oh, okay.
I think it's supposed
Go
to.
ahead.
But
Explain
there
that.
are some instances where for some people it just doesn't maybe it just doesn't weigh as heavily as it should. Because as women, we're born with all of the eggs, like with everything that we're gonna need. Like, you're just born with it, and so I can see why studies suggest that, yeah, like when you're a teenager and before, like, you have sex for the first time, yes, you're going to, kind of be choosy about who you decide to give your virginity to and things like that. But for some people, once the gates are open, the gates are open.
I like that. I like that. Sis, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, that's true. But what I found to be was, for me, like I figured I would be more, sexually active and everything when I'm in my 20s. But it's to me, the older you get, to me it seems like you get hornier.
I'm going to go there in a second. So I want to go back to a point you made, Tasha. You said it should be that way, but you talked about some things that may not. What do you account for then that it seems to me that the younger generation, I can't speak for women, I'm going to speak for men, they just don't seem to be as interested in sex as is it just a me thing or my generational thing? This is why I wish I had more men on the show, because I wonder if it was just the fucking people that I ran with. But me and my partner, we talk about this all the time. When we was young, hell, even when I was a teenager, again, all we did is chase. Me and my partner Mike, Biggie Mike, if you out there and you ever watched this episode, we spent every waking moment hunting down pussy. That's all we could think about. Number one, being that young, that the wind blows right, your dick gets hard. And so, you chasing everything that you could to try to get at it. What's going on, Real Estate Insider? And what's going on, Charles? How you doing? So, Tasha, if it should be that way, and again, for women, I don't believe this is the case with this current generation of men. I think they're more preoccupied. It seems to me that they seem to be more preoccupied. I'm only talking about the men, Because I see it all the time. It's like they just don't love pussy like I loved it.
Well, there's been a change. There's been a change in the way like people are raised in different things. I
Okay.
think about it like this. So for like me, when you were younger, that's why I say like it should be that way because when you're younger as a woman, you're taught that you should, of course, like there's a system in place. You're supposed to graduate from high school. You can go to college, but then you're supposed to get married and start a family.
Okay.
Well, now all that's kind of been like thrown out the window.
Very true. Very true.
And it's not so much of a push to, for people to start a family and different things. Where for some young men, they're able to be coddled just a little bit longer. They're not forced to just kind of just be out there as much. But for like a lot of the young women, I do think that they are, maybe like a little bit more aggressive. But then also there is a huge influx of homosexuality. So to you, where they may not be chasing pussy, they might be chasing dick, or pussy might be chasing pussy. So it may be happening. You just may not see it and be able to recognize it. So.
Which brings me back to our previous point about the physical attraction, because I find that gay men, from my experience, my experience, gay men tend to act a lot more rigorously to physical attraction, Tasha, than to responsive sexual drives. When I live in Atlanta, Georgia. Welcome, Hannah. What's up, sister, sweetheart?
Hi,
and
Hannah.
Also Miss Carolyn. We're having a conversation, of course, on sex drives. And Terrence says the younger men of today chase drugs and money over pussy. So Terrence is agreeing with me, and I just feel like that's the case. But Tasha, you bring up the homosexual aspect of it. That's what I see when I see homosexual men. Please, some of my openly homosexual friends, please correct me if I'm wrong. But I don't think it's responsive. It seems to me to be more, reactive, spontaneous rather. That when I see a room full of men's, sweaty men's, in a hotel room smoking hookah, not a piece of pussy in sight, you know what I'm saying? I think they're acting on, look, he got the big muscles. This here in Atlanta, that's real big. How your body looks, this, that, and the other, it's gotten harder and harder for a fat man like me to get pussy. This place is so hooked on physicality, But I think that it is a thing. But therein lies, especially with African Americans, the down low thing. You just made me rethink this, that where they're not chasing pussy because they may not love that fairy bank like I do. Behind the scenes, that desire has to go somewhere. So I do believe that's why a lot of these younger generation are pinning their legs clear back behind their ears.
Well, I mean, there's nothing, we say it, there's nothing, everything traditional is questioned, is pushed against, and it's all about being the opposite of being the authentic you. So let's just get up in there and get to the mix. So,
man, brother, you had a key word. You said when you at them times you was chasing pussy, you had to chase it then. You don't have to chase it anymore.
Oh, Sherry, another brilliant point, sis. So I want to ask you guys, welcome to the Postons, and I want to pose this to you guys. You are a resident married couple, but I definitely want you to join the conversation. So Sherry, you bring up a valuable point, that how much of a factor is it then that in my day, and Brother Bert, you can speak to this as much as you can speak to it without getting in trouble. But how much of a factor in sex drive does it play in our sex drive when we had to go out and get it versus now the market being flooded with it? How much does that impact sex drive in people, do you think, Hannah and Bert?
I would have to say the chase used to be good. Like the thrill is in the chase.
I agree.
And if you don't have to chase it and it's always available, then where's the thrill in it? Like, when people sneak around,
I agree.
Thrill.
I agree.
But then when they get exclusive, they don't got to sneak no more. Sometimes they don't even last because the thrill is gone. So I think,
my God. I agree. Brother Bert, what you say?
Yeah, I agree. The thrill is in the hunt. And remember, and like I'm sure we can relate to this. Like normally we can tell what type of woman we dealing with. If we got too quick, like, oh man, we can always get that. But we was always trying to get to that one it was just hard to crack. You know what I'm saying? Like it's hard to get her, but we gotta put our A game on to try to get in there. So
you got the hair standing up on me, Bert.
It was a challenge.
Oh my God, you guys are really pulling the layers back on what I think has happened to sexual drive. And we were talking about the two different types, you know, spontaneous versus reactive. But that is so freaking true, which makes Terrence's point even more valid. I think he says the young men of today chase drugs and money over pussy because they don't have to hunt for it. It's readily available. But you hear him say that I'm on my grind. And you even now are hearing young women say the same thing. I'm out here grinding, blah, blah, blah. I think what we've done to the chase, to your point, Hannah, it has diminished sex drive. Now, let's swing up to the 30s really quick. It talks about many men continue to have a strong sex drive through these years, 30s and early 40s, though testosterone starts to slowly decrease around age 35. Now, me and my brother, thank God I got it. And Terrence, you're watching as well. How true, I see you shaking your head, Bert. How true do you think that is that for us as men, that it's diminished at 35? And I got, and when you answer, I'm going to you first because there's a reason why I'm going to you first. Let you answer.
All right. I mean, there is a truth that your testosterone level, I mean, that's just scientific.
Okay.
By how much, you know, that it all varies. But you also got to take into account how you're taking care of yourself. Top of that.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So if you're exercising, or if you're eating right, your diet, the whole nine, that contributes to whether your testosterone, whether you can still elevate it or if it's going to still, because it's going to always decrease. It decreases once you get to from one point to another. So it's going to decrease. Sometimes they even say that it decreases in your 20s.
We talked about that. You guys missed that because it even talked about that's why there is they said 8%, but probably higher.
Yeah.
Young men in their 20s that experience, you know, erectile dysfunction. I experienced it in my 20s.
Yeah, and I have friends of mine that actually happened to them. Now they contributed probably maybe to drinking or
stress, and they, you know, at that time I remember being newly married, and it was very traumatic being a 21-year-old man and having to go to a urologist because look, my shit ain't working, you know. And I was told that, you know, we can't give you any medicine, blah, blah, blah. It's stress, this, that, and the other, you know. And I wasn't a big drinker back then, you know. But to answer that question for me, my sexual drive did not diminish at 35. It was even higher for me at that age group because, again, circumstances. You know, I was living out my 20s and my 30s at that time. I was free, and by the time I got to be 35, I was knee deep in sin. I was a practicing sin, and I was real good. I was a perfectionist at that point. That at 35, I was in the experimental stage. I was pissing on bitches and everything at that point. So my thing, yeah, I was, you know, I was the very definition of a predator at that stage, and I had perfected the art of hunting pussy at that stage. You know, so I had a rotation. I was a beast at that point. And I'm gonna get to. So I want to ask the ladies because I want to see what it says about women in their 30s and 40s, and then I got a question. But the reason why I went first with you on that one, Bert, I can't tell you how many people, and some have even been on this show, and they talk about how, especially I've had married couples, and you know, to talk about how they fuck every day. I'm glad you said that. It does depend, but as the young kids say, I'm calling cap on some of that. I'm calling cap on some of that. I think even in marriages, you hit not all marriages, but you hit whatever your rhythm is, you know. But I've had people that we fuck, you know, 4 times a day, and I call cap on that, you know, because you know I think as you age, it does diminish just naturally. Terrence says, I didn't have any problems with mine in my 30s either. Yeah, I really didn't. Ladies, it says for women 30s and 40s, this time of life may be when your sex drive is strongest. One study showed that women between 27 and 45 had more frequent and more intense sexual fantasies than younger or older women. They also had more sex and were more likely to have it sooner in a relationship. How true is that?
That's true. Go ahead, Hannah. I'm sorry.
No, so yeah. Well, I'm speaking about me. I was not a prude in my 20s, but
Okay.
I was open as I am now. I'll say that. But as far as giving it up too early, I'm just speaking from my personal experience. I always kept that. Even I feel like you can make the choice however you want to do it. You don't gotta wait first day, second day, anytime you feel like it. But I think right now in my life I'm more open because I'm older and I can do what I want.
And she left it at that. And she just left it at that. I'm older and I can do what I want. Okay. They're like,
enough.
Okay. Sherry or Tasha, what you say about 30s and 40s? And it gave some age group. How true is that? Sis?
I'd say it's true because you in your 30s and 40s, like Hannah said, you're grown. You can do what you want to do. So you pretty much more prone because when you're younger in your 20s, you still at the if and what and all of that, and so.
Okay. I get that. I actually get that. Which to me explains why I think for us as men, women may not want to hear this. Sex with older women. When I say older, I'm not talking about 50s and 60s. I don't want nothing old but money. But I'm talking about, when I say old, I'm talking about 30 and up. I'm talking about 30 and up, believe it or not. My sexual experiences, I would much rather have sex with a woman in her 30s than in her 20s. I think at that stage, a woman knows more what she wants, knows her body, all those good things, in their 20s, they just got a firm ass and firm titties, but half the time they don't even know what to do with them bodies, and you got to do way more work than is necessary. I fucked many women with a really good body, but the technique just wasn't there. But anyway, I digress. Tasha, what do you say about 30s and 40s?
Yeah, you just said a lot right there. Shit. I digress. No, but that's the thing. Like with women, like as we get older, we know more. We have more experience. We've probably had a sex partner or two, at that time. So we know what we like. We know what we want to get us off, and we know what we're looking for. We're way more self-assured. Also, for some women, it is, you're still like within that. A lot of women don't like it, but you're still within that time frame for like your biological clock. I think being 40s is a little generous, but like in your late 20s, your 30s, that's something that a lot of women are considering. But I wanted to say this though, as far as the men thing, and their sex drive diminishing in their 30s, there's two different guys that I know for a fact. They live two different lifestyles, of course, both in their 30s, the times that I've known them, because they're still technically both still in their 30s.
Okay.
One of them had low testosterone, very active, very, had a very, like active job, career and everything. He had to get like an implant under his hand, like in his hand because of, the low testosterone. Now you can contribute that to like maybe the type of job that he had, maybe, high stress type of job, maybe. But then on the other side, you had someone who also had those things and, maybe not able to perform as well. I'm not going to say that he, had like where he had to get like shots or anything like that, but you could tell like he couldn't perform because of low testosterone. But I think it was more of just not taking care of themselves, just more of just like a health thing. So it definitely does happen. So,
which leads me to some of the causes of low sex drive, which is where this conversation was born out of. Because I was Hannah and Bert, I was saying at the very beginning how this conversation started was, I just don't feel the drive anymore. And I had to even question myself, like, is something wrong with me? And I told Tasha this the other day. I was like, okay, let me put on some porn and shit. I wanted to see if the soldier still could salute, like, well, is something fucking wrong with me? So, because I used to play porn every day, but now I wasn't like a porn addict in the sense that I was sitting around and shit with peanut butter jacking my dick off, but I did play porn
Why is
all
it
the
always
time.
peanut butter?
Peanut butter is a great sexual. It's
Yeah.
great for sex. It can't hurt you. But anyway, and also psychotic people sit around rubbing that shit over themselves too.
Yes.
Plotting. I'm just saying. Peanut butter. Shout out to peanut butter. But
Let me
anyway,
ask you a question.
Absolutely
brother.
not.
and
No
even for
peanut butter.
homosexuals, it's a good lubricant to fuck each other in the ass. Peanut butter. Peanut butter. Shout out to peanut butter. But okay.
I don't want to hear that.
No, it is not
Let me
good to
ask
put
you a
inside
question.
of any body part except for your mouth. Do not put that in your ass.
So
Sherry,
let me.
in New York City, they call it Peanut Butter Park. My Mars Park is called Peanut Butter Park. But go ahead.
Yeah, but I'm asking a question. So you, brother, you want to you was a sex fiend and didn't want to put in no work? You got some nerve.
No. I put that was the whole point. I put in too much work.
Oh,
I was quiet as kept. I was a sex addict, because I put in too much work. And that's what scares me is that when I go out now, I don't think about it. And so I wanted to really see, like, well, what's wrong with me? Have I just lost the interest, lost the urge altogether? And so that brings me to some reasons why sex drive has diminished. That's what Tasha was talking about, and she gave good examples of people she knows. Ms. Carol says, I will never look at peanut butter the same way.
Open your cupboard, throw all the peanut butter out right now. No Jiffy, no nothing. Nothing.
None of that.
Jiffy, nothing. No, don't even think about peanut butter.
Fellas, peanut butter. Do yourself
No.
a favor. But okay, anyway. So let's talk about some of the causes for low sex drive, because when I pulled up this list, and you touched on it already, Bert, and so, and some of these I think could be for men or women, why we see a drop. And notice I stopped at the 30s and 40s. I'm coming back to the 50s because that's where I fall into that category. I just turned 56 on January the 5th. So, I'm the old guy on the panel, but I want to share some with you guys. But some of the causes where it talks about for low sex drive, and I just want you guys to talk about some of these, and I'm going to list them all off, and feel free to chime in on any of them, whether how to combat it or how it has affected. Either one, whatever you feel like comfortable sharing. But of course, it talked about aging, and then our resident youth decide to pop in and say, shout out to peanut butter.
No, do not encourage that.
Baby peanut butter. Aging, menopause. Some reasons for low sex drive could be hormonal, or testosterone issues, whether thyroids for women and low testosterone for men. There could be medical issues happening here. Medications is a big one. I take a bunch of medications. Depression, anxiety. I'm gonna talk some of these. This was the one that was surprisingly made it on the list. Poor body image, and I had to really think about that. Yeah. How poor body image could. Yeah. Tasha, it didn't immediately register because I see your face, but I had to think about it in an instance. Why would poor body image? But okay, lifestyle issues. Oh, that's a big one. Relationship barriers, drug and alcohol use, and just plain old good sexual dysfunction. So any of these you want to shout out, talk about some of these things. And again, even though this show is full of fuckery and foolishness, we try to be a little bit educational as well. So, what in some of these, and anybody want to go first, or you want me to start?
I'll speak on two of them.
Mm-hmm.
One, when you said body image, that kind of makes sense to me because you have to like yourself naked. If you want to advertise it to someone else, you gotta like what you see. And if you don't like what you see, then you want to think they're not gonna like what I see. And you can already concoct something up like it's not gonna be good. Even though some people could care less what you look like, once you have an image in your mind, it's gonna play a part of your body as well. and you just gonna turn yourself off, even though you don't.
You're nailing it. You nailed it. And I hadn't, when I first read it, hon, I didn't see you nailing it. You nailing it.
And I'll
what's your second one, sweetie?
Medicine can play a big factor in your sex drive. I'll say that, especially like depending on if you got any type of medical procedures and things can lower your sex drive. Even certain birth control can alter your drive, and it just depends. All that is hormonal. If you're having health issues and you don't even get it treated, it can affect your sex drive. You might not know until you go get looked at.
Love it, man. You nailed it, sweetheart. Miss Carolyn says hypertension medicines, and when I said at the beginning of the show, you guys hardly ever see me wear my glasses. I have taken control of my diabetes and high blood pressure, and my numbers are fantastic. I'm on Manjaro. I haven't had blurry vision forever. Now that had led to my dick getting harder much more frequently, but okay, that's a whole nother baby steps. But anyway,
it always gotta go there.
Well, we are talking about sexual, your sex drive. Sherry, Bert, what are you on that list? Aging, menopause, hormonal, medical issues, medications, depression and anxiety, poor body image, lifestyle issues, relationship barriers, drug and alcohol use, sexual dysfunction. What do you want to add?
I mean, the ones that Hannah took, that's the ones I was going to go for. But also, yeah, anxiety. You know, you know what I mean? That can play a major part.
Yep.
You know, it almost can go hand in hand with the self-image. Because you can start getting those angst and you start overthinking things, and then all of a sudden you don't have no drive to do anything. You know, so that confidence that plays a big role in which you already know. You know what I mean?
I was going to take it a step further. How much that plays a part of it, because even if you don't have the forces, men, we're expected to perform at a certain level. Being a man, I feel like in some ways we're at a disadvantage because we have to get hard to perform.
Yeah.
And what if that erection doesn't last, or you come too quick and now you're overthinking it? So to your point, Bert, it can even be like what women don't know. We have major conversations with our dick before it even jump off. Bert know what I'm talking about.
Hey,
Bert knows what I'm talking about.
Hey, bro, and also too, here's another thing.
Wait a minute.
Hold up. And here's another thing too. We also play off of. You could be with a woman who's like I want to say like a quiet lover, where if you going off of her reaction or how the way she's looking, and if you see that, it can turn you off and you can go flaccid quick. Because you're like, am I doing it right? Or is something going on?
It matters. He is nailing it. It does affect your performance. Yeah. If you got a bad partner and you don't seem to be ringing their bell, and so it starts to play tricks on your mind. So when I was younger and I was Superman and I'm looking at myself in the mirror and my stomach is flat and shit, I ain't thinking about her. I'm looking down. I'm admiring my own dick. Fuck that. I'm looking at her and shit, you know. But now you got women playing their pussy far too often. They pussy's all wallowed out, and you ain't seem to be ringing that bell, and pussy getting too dry or it's way too wet. All these y'all have no idea. Like for an episode, please look, don't let me down, motherfucker. I need you to perform. It's real shit that goes on here. This shit is real. Shit is real.
All right here, yeah.
So you talk you in the mirror.
And not even we might even say it like where you can hear it in our mind.
Right? No, you're not gonna hear it.
You better come on.
And I famously talked about even if you're having a great session, but then you're weighing down, and you know you're weighing down, and I gotta stop and go in the bathroom. And in my bathroom, my previous bathroom, it was all mirrors all across the whole damn wall, a wall full of mirrors. You know, so you get a good glimpse of yourself. I'm like, what the fuck is this chick doing fucking me? Okay, that's number one. So this is why I keep the lights dim and have a candle lit. But then also the ones where you gotta breathe and catch your breath, like this bitch is trying to kill me. You know, so I gotta get back in here and perform at a certain level. You know, Terrence a true statement. This is real. It's funny, but these are all really factors. Sherry and Tasha, which ones you want to talk about?
I think most of them have been addressed already. I mean, of course, you have depression. I think that's a major one that that people have now. You know, really going hand in hand, like with anxiety. However, I will say this: I do challenge it a little bit because some people say that they're depressed, but really they just nasty. I honestly think that that they're just like they just don't keep like a good and healthy, like a good clean environment. So I think sometimes, yeah, that makes you depressed because you're nasty. Just get up and take a shower. That might make you feel better, like go and soak and do them dishes. That might make you feel better. But also with the menopause one, now I don't have menopause. However, there is for women, there is a growing large number of women who are experiencing perimenopause. So,
Okay.
and
Please
those
educate
symptoms,
me because I don't even know what that is.
it's like you go, it's like you're experiencing certain symptoms that can only go, that's kind of like an indicator that's going to let you know that you're going to be going through menopause a lot sooner than what you probably should be.
Okay.
And a lot of it is hormonal too. Like, you may not be getting what you need from like either like the foods that you're eating, or also a lot of things play a part like into your genetics as well. Like it's even more important too. So it's something to consider. But to your point though about how men be talking to y'all's dick, yeah, sometimes it's kind of obvious that y'all are talking to y'all's dicks, but there is a song that was made by a woman. I cannot think of the name of the song to save my life, but in the song she said, "Pussy don't fail me now." So silently, sometimes women, we be having them thoughts too.
Wow. What?
Yes.
Again.
Elliot.
Again.
Yeah, that is that Missy. There you go. Yep.
Again, you learned something on I learned something on the show.
show.
Miss Carol says, I was told that menopause was a culprit for women. It actually increased my sex drive.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Yes, sis. What do you want to say?
Yeah, I was listening to Tasha, but a lot of people, I have heard people say it decreased your sex drive, but not for me. A couple of people said to me, that's why I said sometimes the older you get, the more you want to you be sexually active.
Oh, wow.
It's a drive. I guess it's different for everybody.
Of course, this is, but we just kind of talking about all of them. And what's sad is when I read this list, I have multiple things going on this list. I'm over 50 years old. I just turned 56. Course, because of my age, my testosterone levels are low. I take a bunch of medications. You think about anxiety. No wonder the fucking doctor, every time I go in that motherfucker, the first thing he asks me, on the scale of 1 to 10, you think about killing yourself? No, motherfucker, not yet. Not yet. I ain't thinking about killing myself just yet. Leave me alone. You know what I'm saying?
About to kill you.
Right. Heal me, motherfucker, so I can keep fucking. But okay, poor body image is one of them I deal with. When I think about lifestyle issues, that is one we didn't talk about, and that is a factor as well. Tasha, you say times have changed. Lifestyle issues for me has been a great impact. The chances I used to take, I just can't take that anymore. Now I tend to overthink it now. You go back just 10 years ago, I was still throwing my dick on the crap table, and not worried about coming up snake eyes, But when you start getting to a certain age, it ain't cool to be 50-year-old man looking around no clinic with a bunch of motherfuckers whose dicks is leaking, and you got to explain why.
Please take your dick off the table, please.
I took it off the table because when I first moved here, I used to sit at my desk and work the shit out of tagged and moco space because I had to set up some pussy before I got off work. And I had a system where I was dragging them bitches in. And to your point, Tasha, about cleaning up, go back 8 years ago, I didn't care if the bitch was clean or not. I held my nose if she stunk a little bit. I didn't care if a place was nasty. I wiped my dick off on a face rag, whatever. Shit, I ain't got to use it. I didn't give a shit. Whatever clothes she took off, wiped my dick off, and I walked out the door. I didn't give a shit.
I'm
So
embarrassed, y'all.
I think, okay, well, I'm going to
Not
take a
the
different
favorite.
look. I'm going to approach lifestyle a different, heaven forbid, it's a different route. Maybe, somebody going through or experiencing, something else, unemployment, financial restraints. Maybe they've, recently, like lost somebody or something, you know.
Miss Carol.
all of those are factors, relationship barriers. People aren't looking for relationships anymore.
Yeah.
And that's been a major factor. So my resident favorite couple here, I want what you have, but they're not making that on trees anymore. People aren't looking to be in relationships. They're not looking to be monogamous. And so that makes me pull back. We can't even approach women the way we used to anymore. So we talked about that chase in the beginning. How do you chase somebody that definitively don't even want to be stopped, let alone caught? So it impacts everything. Go ahead, Bert. You had a comment, brother?
Yeah, I had how long has this been going on for you?
Oh, you know what? I don't know. This is what me and Tosh were talking about this. It just hit me. We were talking. I don't even know how we got on the conversation, but I was like, well, damn, I never think about sex. I know what it was. We were talking about music, and there was a song about Silk.
Oh,
And I
that's
was
right.
telling Tasha that I had a CD that it was to these sexual songs, but I don't have my DVD player out. So and it just hit me at that moment, like, wait a minute, I hardly ever think about sex anymore. Like, I never really turned on porn to get horny per se, because I was always horny. Porn for me was just for the woman. That was for, bitch, I need you to do that. You see how she doing that? I need you to do that. That's what porn was playing for. It wasn't necessarily for me, because looking at a woman naked, now once you're in front of me, and again I do the scratch and sniff test, that's when I get horny. You know what I'm saying? But like just looking at sex, but I don't even put on porn anymore. And drug and alcohol. I've diminished alcohol. I did. So I don't hardly drink nowhere near what I drink a beer reader now. So all the shit that I've done to my poor liver, and here I am, which brings me to 50s and beyond. It says, if you're in good physical and mental health, there's no reason you shouldn't continue to enjoy sex as you get older. Erectile dysfunction does become more common as you age. Your erections may happen less often and may be less firm, but it's not age itself that causes the problem as much as health problems that become more common with age, like heart disease, diabetes, high cholesterol, and obesity, which I got all the motherfuckers and drugs too. So look, I'm closing the show kind of here at the end a little bit where, look, if it's getting harder to find a reason to fucking go on, because I used to live for pussy, what am I going to have to live for, to look forward to? If this shit keep decreasing at the level that it is, that if I'm not thinking about it, so I got to make some changes, which I want to bring up a couple of areas as we close out, and I want to get you guys' opinion on it. So clearly, there's so many reasons that can impact sex drive. And of these areas I'm going to name, what which is the area where you think is going to be your greatest area to impact your overall sex drive? Consistency, because it says women's sex drive is more variable than men in two ways. First, women's sex drive is more variable across, women have higher sex drive than others. And then it says women's sex drive is influenced by their menstrual cycles. I want to get into that. Oh, good Lord. I saw a man drinking a woman's period blood. That was the nastiest shit I ever saw. But anyway, consistency, attraction to others, or sexual frequency. Of those three areas, consistency, attraction to others, or sexual frequency. The attraction part, it says for both gay and straight men, a high sex drive is associated with increased sexual attraction to either men or women. And that's what I was talking about earlier. But again, with women, we're in a different world now. So how much does that play a part of it for your sexual drive or sexual frequency? For both men and women, having a high sex drive is positively correlated with both an unrestricted socio-sexual orientation and a greater number of sex partners. Which of those areas is mostly impactful for you? And The real estate inside says yuck. I don't know which part you said yuck to.
You know which part. The,
Huh?
the drinking.
Oh God, yeah. It was the nastiest thing I ever seen in my life.
What was the whole thing behind that?
We don't need to know.
It was literally on a TikTok video where he was proving his love. I love you so much that I'm going to drink your period blood.
That's disgusting.
It sure is.
It was the most disgusting.
I would have broken them.
And it looked like he was drinking it out of her diva cup too. That's super nasty.
It was the most. I gagged on this shit, you know.
Come on.
And how could you kiss somebody after they do something shit like that?
She was giggling the whole time, y'all. She was giggling.
No,
you know?
I'm with you. Because you
and yes, oh, that's beyond trifling. But I literally was watching a movie a day or two later, and on the movie, I forget which movie, the guy was like, he said, well, how did he put it? He wanted to have sex while she was on a cycle, and he says, well, I never been scared of a little murder scene or whatever. So again, I think that's disgusting. Yeah, so I think that's disgusting too.
But she a nasty bitch anyway, because why would you be putting some period blood in the cup?
That's where their sex drive was superseding even hygienic shit. But okay, I want to go around for you guys. Which for you is the most impactful you think at this stage of your life? Because we got different age groups, I think, here. So is it attraction to others, consistency, sexual frequency?
For me, I think it's me being attracted to the person.
Okay.
Because good attraction to a person, we attract to each other, it makes the sex better. Then I don't know. See, but I haven't been that attracted to anybody because I ain't sucking no dick. So you can say whatever you want and all of that kind of shit, but no.
Okay.
But I think that because consistent, yeah, I want you to be consistent, but like as we sitting here talking about, with sometimes with men, they might can get it up and sometimes they can't, or they can't get it up. No, we just talking about
for you, which is the most impactful. You said for you is attraction.
Yeah.
Okay. What about my favorite couple? And I'm interested to hear your take being a couple.
Mine, attracted to others. It's like, no.
I love it.
I would say consistency. Not saying that we don't have, I'm not gonna go to that, but I think consistency is great even for us because you don't want it to die down, especially when you ain't going nowhere to death. So I think that consistency would be big for me.
What about you, my brother?
Yeah, for me, it's always going to be consistency because it can be so easy for you to fall off track, whether you're married or you're dating. You can let certain elements get in there, whether it's it could be bills, it could be your job, it could be family, it could be friends. Certain things can kind of knock you off stride, so it's always important to stay consistent. And also the attraction as well. Like I'm just saying, we always listen, man. We're visual. We're gonna keep it up. We're gonna keep it a whole bean. I'm gonna staying 10 toes down on it. Would you marry to? You want to make sure that hey, look, this is what I was attracted to. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna do my end of the bargain. I'm gonna try to look as good as possible all the time. That's my job because I want you to always have all eyes on me and no one else. Now, all right, yeah, you can always have your little celebrity crushes and stuff like that. I get it, Usher. I get it. But at the end of the day,
first of all,
shout out to Usher. That's still women.
First of all,
but
Usher's a beast in this game. Ooh, that boy is a beast in this game. He doing grown man things. Get on that train, Chris Brown. See, Breezy's playing. He's still flipping and dancing and shit, almost 40 years old. Usher doing grown folks things out here.
You ain't never lie.
Shit. Miss Carolyn says attraction and consistency for me, and I think she's married. I'm glad you picked both of those because I love hearing that. And Brother Brenton would be proud for what I'm gonna say that in a marriage, I think it's both of those, and I think they're split equally. The Bible talks about rendering to each other their due. So you can't play sexual games and withhold sex. That should never be brought in there. And then I like that you put attraction, because one of my all-time favorite song by Destiny's Child is Cater to You. People, when they get each other, then they tend to take each other for granted. So I love hearing you say, as a man, I'm going to do my best to look my best because you want her. I truly believe, being single for as long as I've been, it even affects my appearance. I have nobody to fix up for. They even say married couples live longer, but when you live by yourself, shit, I walk around this motherfucker like Winnie the Pooh. Ain't nobody around telling me to put no drawers on. So shit, what the fuck I'm gonna put them on? But
it always gotta go.
I'm just keeping it honest, Tasha. But Miss Carolyn said, absolutely. I still get chased around the house, and when I get caught, it's on. Go ahead, Miss Carol. Go ahead, Miss Carol. I love it. I love
Brother,
it.
Wow.
and so I missed that. So that's why that's not going to be when I'm going to choose. What for you, Tasha? I'm interested. I saved you and I for last. We're single and you're celibate.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. I don't know where he got that from. Wait a minute.
Okay,
wait a minute.
You're just abstaining. So
it's not a vow of celibacy or anything. It's just that I'm just not, I'm just not like really interested in going through like the whole thing right now of finding some. That takes a lot of effort. And just like you said, like where you have to keep yourself up. I don't particularly feel like doing that right now because it takes a lot of effort, to keep yourself up to like a certain standard to attract somebody. So I don't know. I'd like to amend the list. Maybe find somebody.
Well, thank you for correcting me. She
I'm sorry. No, I am not.
My God. She said, "Fuck that! I ain't celibate." So what's on your list, Tasha? If you was going to add something, what is it for you?
I don't know. Shit, I think step one would be you got to find somebody first, right? I think that's step one. Like you got to find somebody. But again, it's like, do I even feel like doing that? And I'll say it like this: not because I think that I'm all that. Dick is easy to find, but it's like keeping it around, and making sure it's what you want. So,
which to me, your answer and now my answer is the same. It's sexual frequency because that's what I was thinking. For me, at this stage of my life, in my mid-50s, I'm okay with it. Doesn't have to be every day. Doesn't even have to be every week. So for me, it is sexual frequency in the sense that I'm looking for the right match. Brother Kenny, who's not on tonight, he always said, I'm looking for somebody that gets me. To get me, I'm totally open to a long-distance relationship. To your point, Tasha, I no longer crave sex for sex purposes. I literally overthink it now. To your point, pussy is easy to get. But I think of it now that when it gets to be, 11, 12 o'clock, because y'all know too well, the bitch ain't coming here right now. When it's show in, I got to watch my shows. I got to take my shower, eat. I ain't going to be feeding no bitch my good food. So I'm not even really thinking about until 11, 12 o'clock. So then my mind starts to think, damn, I got to get dressed again. I got to put on some oils between my musty legs. I got to spread a towel out on the couch so the bitch can suck some dick. How long is she going to stay? Is she going to want to smoke weed? Now my apartment going to be all smoked up. Nah, it just ain't worth it. It's too much work. So for me, it's sexual frequency. Finding somebody that gets me. Brother Bird is killing it. It's somebody that gets me. All this shit goes through my head. I'm sorry, y'all are hearing all the shit that happens in my head. But it's finding somebody who gets me. And if I'm going to do it, it has to be good. So I'm looking for the right match. And again, there are other factors for me to have to fall into play because I ain't carrying no bitch around. So you can't be too young. You can't be too old. I'm okay with a little bit of your stomach can be balled up a little bit. It can't look like balled up homework, but it can be a little bit balled up. Your titties ain't got to stand up all the way, but they just can't be laying on your sides. So it's all of these are factors that's going to impact my sexual drive. So it's sexual frequency.
Get off the computer right now.
I'm done.
Well, he's gonna talk about your stomach can't be balled up. Just a little bit. I can't with you.
And we have run out of time, but I thank you guys. Even though we laugh and funny, this was a serious topic for me in all seriousness. And I just wanted to bring, unfortunately, y'all got to live inside of my fucked up brain to have this conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you. But Tasha's my best friend, so she has to hear this shit all the time. You know,
Tasha, you a great
hard Jerry.
They're like, heart,
look, I'm like, look, I ain't got nobody else I can tell this to, so I'm gonna tell it to you. So, but it is something that came up and it gave me pause to think about where I'm at. So I definitely want to thank you guys for popping in and at least being a part of it. I had more to go, but in the interest of time, we might have to do a part 2. Ms. Carol said, have a great good night, everyone. Thank you. The Real Estate Insider, thank you so much. Terrence, I appreciate you as always. Thanks for popping in. Again, if you like this content, we're trying to build our audience back up, folks. We're in the new year. We're coming back. So all of the family's not here, but I thank you for tuning in. Don't forget, seriously, like, subscribe. You can find me under TFG Ratchet. And so again, as we're building that TFG brand, more content, innovative ideas, I'm starting to feel the creative juices flowing again. I'm starting to get happy about this. So come back, tell somebody, subscribe, like, share, for sure. And of course, you can find me on YouTube and Facebook under Real Talk for Real Men. We're going to keep doing what we do. Stay warm, enjoy, and think about this conversation. And everybody, I wish you tonight to be safe and warm and good sex. Peace out.